Hi everyone, I'm Tim. I'm the PM for the package stage, and I wanted to highlight some of the work I've been doing this month using Claude and Duo to help document some common use cases and functionality that's supported by the product that either wasn't documented at all or not sufficiently, and how I'm using this to create a go-to-market strategy to highlight these features for customers and also to help drive more in-depth conversations during customer calls and user interviews. So on our FY26 roadmap, we have this goal to make our users' workflows more efficient. And in this epic, we have a bunch of things that came up during user research that folks wanted the ability to use catalog components for a variety of functionality, but it didn't exist. And given our current capacity, it's difficult to prioritize engineering time to work on these sorts of projects. But most of these are things that they could do today that we just don't have documentation for. For example, the ones I'm going to highlight today are things that I've already been moving forward. How to migrate container images from Amazon's container registry to the GitLab container registry, how to sign and annotate Python packages. This means that you can sign the package to verify its authenticity with cosign, and you can also annotate the package with build provenance, like the commit and pipeline data associated with it. And something similar for container images, so annotating and signing container images. And so as I started working on this, I came up with this idea for a go-to-market strategy, which was basically to start with a blog post. For example, I have this blog post here for the signing and the provenance for container images. Then I can turn that blog post into a more direct guide as a tutorial in the documentation. So here we could see in the container registry documentation, we now have a tutorial for how to do this that walks through step by step how to define variables, prepare tokens, prepare the container, and sign and verify an image using cosign. This is something that was somewhat documented before, but it didn't live with the container registry documentation and didn't really have the full examples that someone could reference. And then after that, the goal is to turn it into a component. So I created a project in the GitLab.com components project. I created a sub project for package. And here, oops, needs to be refreshed. Here is where I plan on putting all of my catalog components for the stage. As of right now, we have one for the signing of container images, and we have one for the ECR migration. I can go over those in a second, but you can see going to the catalog, here is where the components are, and you can see the README for each one of these and how to use them. It was a very fun project. I guess I just want to pause for 1 second and go back to my project itself. And this is something that there's no way that I could have done without the use of AI. Would have been beyond my technical skills, just in the amount of DevOps operational work that needed to be done to configure cosign, to create the pipelines, to configure for the other one to get Amazon Container Registry built and running. But with Claude and Duo, it did take me time to give the right prompts to debug my pipelines, but I was able to get this working with very minimal developer intervention, just for final reviews and some minor adjustments for some bugs that I ran into. So I'm really excited about this because this is me adding features to the product without actually having to rely on we with only having very minimal engineering involvement. And the other thing is that it's really taking advantage of the product that we already have in support, but that we don't document and that we don't promote with our user base. So I have some things similar I'm working on for Python as well. So you can see, I won't go through all the code, but you can see some examples of uh, I'm annotating and signing Python packages. And the same thing, I'm turning that into a tutorial. So it'll be in the documentation. And then once this gets approved, it'll get turned into a catalog component. So I have all these other use cases in here, like how to optimize Docker images for storage usage, how to gather the SBOM for packages that are in your registry, how to easily set up the package registry using a catalog component, and how to support publishing to the GitLab package registry from external platforms like GitHub. All of these came up during user research, and these are all things that we support today. But when I talk to users, to our platform engineers, they don't have time either to set up these things. So if we can help them get started with components that are useful, this is a great way to get involved. It's been a really fun project for me. Um, some things that I would highlight are, you know, working with Duo and Claude together was key. I found that Claude was better for generating the suggestions for the pipelines and for general debugging, and that Duo was better for when the pipeline failed. The troubleshoot action was more helpful than Claude. What else was I going to say? I think that's probably enough. If you're interested in this or how I did it or how I got started, let me know. I'd be happy to talk more about it. But yeah, just promoting the use of Claude and Duo, and the creation of catalog components. Oh, the last thing I would say is one thing that I've noticed it's really helped with is that the creating these examples has helped me on customer calls and user interviews to really drive depth of conversation. And it's created more empathy with my user base because having to set up these components, it really gives you an understanding of what our platform engineer users are going through to set up template pipelines for their user base. And so I've had gotten off calls with Snowflake, for example, where they were like, "Oh, you support this? I didn't even know that you had this. This is awesome. Like, we're ready to use the product if this is supported." Um, so yeah, I would recommend just playing around with Claude and Duo and components and seeing maybe there are use cases that you can create for your stage. Thank you.